Hello and welcome to Club MBTI. My name is Dap and I'll be your guide for the next hour or so. So grab some popcorn and a nice cold drink. And I'm going to be sharing years of research from my book entitled Knowing the Self. But instead of putting it into a book form, I've made it into an interactive college video course. So here we go. The course is called, of course, The Self. You may recall we took an exhaustive look into the human spirit on a historical and global level. If you haven't seen that, make sure you click on the link, The Spirit. But now we're on E, the second letter in the acronym SELF, where we will take an exploration look at human emotion on a very deep level. As an ENTP, I don't think how things make me feel from moment to moment. I'm not aware of that. So this is really also helping me as not someone who's a feeler, but a thinker, to understand feelings in a deeper way. So to understand the complexities of emotion, we need to understand emotion on a physiological and psychological level, as response mechanisms to the world around us and inside of us. Let's recognize the role of emotions in shaping human experience and relationships. I mean, can you imagine the world without emotion? It wouldn't be a very good life. Imagine robotic individuals inflicting massive pain on everyone around them, lacking empathy, a cold world with no purpose, but just to survive and reproduce, I guess. But actually, without fear and joy, you really can't be alive, I don't think. At least not human. So let's look at some of the different theories out there that have been formed about emotions. Well, there's the James Lange theory, proposed by William James and Carl Lang. This theory suggests that emotions are a result of physiological responses to external stimuli. According to this theory, we experience emotions because of our bodily changes that occur in response to a specific event or situation. For example, we feel fear because our heart rate increased and we start trembling. Okay. The Cannon-Bard theory, proposed by Walter Cannon and Philip Bard, this theory challenges James Lange theory. It suggests that emotions and physiological responses occur simultaneously and independently in response to stimulus. According to this theory, emotions are produced by the brain and do not solely depend on bodily changes. The Schachner-Singer theory, the two-factor theory, developed by Stanley Schachner and Jerome Singer. This theory suggests that emotions are a result of a combination of physiological arousal and cognitive interpretation. According to this theory, we experience emotions by interpreting our physiological responses in the context of the situation. For example, if we experience physiological arousal and attribute it to a certain event, we label our emotional experience accordingly. Then there's the cognitive appraisal theory, proposed by Richard Lazarus. It emphasizes the role of cognitive appraisal in the emotional experience. This suggests that our emotions are influenced by how we appraise or evaluate the situation. Our interpretation of an event's significance, relevance, and implications determines the emotional response we experience. Evolutionary theory. Evolutionary psychologists proposed that emotions have evolved over time due to the adaptive value in promoting survival and reproduction of success. These theories suggest that emotions are innate and serve specific functions. For example, fear helps us respond to threats, while joy enhances social bonding. Social constructive perspective. This perspective suggests that emotions are socially and culturally constructed. It emphasizes the role in cultural norms, values, and socialization process in shaping emotional experiences. According to this perspective, emotions are not solely biological or universal, but are influenced by social and cultural factors. Affective neuroscience perspective. This perspective draws on the field of neuroscience and focuses on the neural processes underlying emotions. It explores the brain structures and mechanisms involved in emotional experience and aims to understand the biological basis of emotions. These are just a few key theories and perspectives on emotion, but as you see, there's truth in all of these perspectives. It's much like the M theory, where, the theory of everything, where it's an elephant in a room full of blind people, and one of them's holding the tail and says, "This is a snake with a very luscious head of hair," and then the one who's holding the trunk says, "No, this is an anaconda and it's dangerous," and then another one's holding the leg and the foot and says, "No, this is a tree trunk, but it doesn't have any roots and it can move," and you're all partially right. They resemble parts of other animals, but there's only some truth, but not complete truth in each of the theories. So that's why we're here to learn a new theory of everything about the self. The fact is, emotions are complex and simple at the same time. So we have the brain working with the glands to prepare the body for the experience of love, war, or something in between. Is love a fundamental emotion? Let's explore the nature of love and its various forms of romantic, familial, and platonic. First, we need to redefine the word love and exchange it for something such as affection, since that's a better description, honestly, of what we're dealing with when it comes to emotion. So we can love a car, we can have affection for a car, we can have affection for a friend, we can have affection for a spouse, we can have a love for our own opinions. So anything you have affection for is the emotion that we call love. Now, what's the most profound physiological and psychological effects of love on an individual? Well, love, both romantic and non-romantic, can have profound physiological and psychological effects on individuals. Here are some key effects associated with love. Physiological effects. That includes increased well-being. Love has been linked to improved overall well-being. When individuals experience love, their bodies release hormones such as oxytocin, dopamine, and endorphins, which contribute to feelings of pleasure, happiness, and relaxation. Reduced stress. Love and affectionate relationships have been found to reduce stress levels. When individuals feel loved and supported, their bodies release lower levels of stress hormones like cortisol, leading to reduced physiological and psychological stress. There's enhanced physical health. Research suggests that individuals in loving relationships may have better cardiovascular health, stronger immune systems, and faster recovery from illnesses. Pain relief. Love and emotional support have been found to have pain-reducing effects. Studies have shown that individuals in loving relationships experience lower pain intensities and increased pain tolerance, potentially due to the release of endorphins and the activation of reward pathways in the brain. Then there's the physiological effects, increased happiness and life satisfaction. So love is often associated with increased happiness and satisfaction. Being in a loving relationship or experiencing love from family and friends can contribute to positive emotions, a sense of fulfillment, and an overall higher quality of life. There's emotional stability. Love can provide emotional stability and support. Having someone who cares deeply for us and provides emotional support can help individuals cope with stress, adversity, and emotional challenges more effectively. Greater resilience. Love and secure attachments can foster resilience in individuals. Feeling loved and supported acts as a buffer against life's difficulties, helping individuals bounce back from setbacks, recover from trauma, and maintain psychological well-being. Improved self-esteem. Love and positive relationships can boost self-esteem and self-worth. Feeling loved and valued by others can contribute to a positive self-perception, increased self-confidence, and a greater sense of personal worth. Increased empathy and compassion. Love can promote empathy and compassion towards others. Being in a loving relationship or experiencing love can enhance individuals' ability to understand and share the emotions of others, fostering kindness and pro-social behavior. The effects of love can vary from person to person, and the nature of the relationship plays a role in shaping these effects. Additionally, the quality of love and the presence of healthy dynamics and mutual support are crucial for experiencing these positive effects. How does love play a role in fostering attachment and bonding? Well, love plays a crucial role in fostering attachment and bonding between individuals. Attachment refers to the emotional bond that forms between people, typically observed in those close relationships such as parent-child relationships, romantic relationships, and close friendships. Here's how love contributes to attachment and bonding. It gives you a secure base. Love provides a secure base from which individuals can explore the world and take risks. In attachment theory, a secure base refers to a sense of safety and comfort that comes from having a trusted person to rely on. When individuals feel loved and supported, they're often more likely to explore their environment and engage in new experiences with confidence. There's emotional connection. You see, love involves emotional connections and attunement between individuals. Emotional bonds are formed through acts of care, empathy, and understanding. Feeling loved and understood by another person, fostering a sense of emotional closeness, strengthens the bond between individuals. Feeling loved and understood by another person fosters a sense of emotional closeness and strengthens the bond between individuals. Trust and safety. These are very important because love creates a foundation of trust and safety in relationships. When individuals feel loved, they develop a sense of trust in the other person's care and support. This trust provides a sense of safety and security, allowing individuals to be vulnerable and share their deepest thoughts, feelings, and their needs. Mutual support. Love involves providing and receiving support for one another. In a loving relationship, individuals often emotional, practical, and instrumental support to each other. This mutual support strengthens the bond and fosters a sense of interpersonal relationships, interdependence and reciprocation, intimacy and connection. Love promotes intimacy and connection between individuals. Intimacy involves emotional closeness, open communication, and deep understanding of one another. Love allows individuals to feel seen, heard, and valued, creating a sense of belonging and fostering a strong attachment bond. I mean, it's like the show Cheers, where everybody knows your name, they keep coming back. Attachment security. Love contributes to the development of attachment security. Secure attachment is characterized by a belief that one can rely on the availability and responsiveness of a loved one. When individuals feel loved and securely attached, they develop a positive internal working model of relationships, which influences their expectations and their behaviors in future relationships. Long-term bonding. Love plays a vital role in the establishment and maintenance of long-term bonding. I just think of my best friend of 38 years. It's long-term that builds an even deeper bond. And whether it's in a romantic partnership or parent-child relationship or a close friendship like mine, love helps to sustain the connection over time. Acts of love, affection, and commitment reinforce the bond, leading to lasting and fulfilling relationships. Consistency, trust, empathy, and effective communication are key factors in building and maintaining strong and healthy attachments. So remember that. It is a give and take. Now this should blow your mind. Fear of loss and the spectrum of negative emotions. Examining the fear of losing what we love, what we're affectionate towards, as a catalyst for negative emotions. So anything that threatens what you love becomes a response mechanism for hate. Imagine a scenario where a person comes up to you and says, "Your son's stupid and I'll beat him next time I see him," but you don't have a kid. You'd be like, is this guy okay? What the heck? Am I being pranked here? There's no threat to someone you love. So you don't get angry. You simply explain to them they are confused and you might even laugh about it. But if you did have a son, you become defensive and your heart rate starts to beat faster. Your pupils expand to let in more light. Your body is preparing for conflict. You're no longer experiencing the emotion of love. Those flowery thoughts are all gone. All you can feel is hate. But hate can look like many things. It can appear as sadness, anger, rage, anxiety, and every other negative emotion you can imagine. They're all derived by the threat or fear of losing that which you love. Our expressions of hate, they look like rage, depression, sadness, all stemming from the fear of loss. It's just an illusion because the thing that we fear losing has not actually been lost. That is what we must attempt to keep in mind while your brain and glands are producing powerful chemicals that influence your mind and your reasoning, and they overtake your body. This isn't easy to do, and you must prepare yourself ahead of time to block your body's response to hate in all of its negative spectrum. One of the first things hate affects is the tongue, or more specifically, the part of the brain that controls speech. It usually begins with a 4-letter word and may lead into a combination of such colorful words. So be aware of that. What are the most profound physiological and psychological implications of negative emotions? This is interesting because negative emotions can have a profound physiological and psychological implication on an individual. Here are some key effects associated with negative emotions. Psychological implications. Decreased well-being. Negative emotions such as sadness, anger, or fear can significantly impact overall well-being. They can contribute to feeling unhappy or dissatisfied and can reduce your sense of fulfillment in life. Impaired cognitive functions. Negative emotions can impair cognitive functions, including attention, memory, and problem-solving abilities. When individuals experience intense negative emotions, their ability to concentrate, make decisions, and think clearly are severely compromised. Reduced resilience. Negative emotions can undermine resilience and make it more challenging for individuals to cope with stress and adversity. Prolonged negative emotional states can hinder the ability to bounce back from setbacks and may lead to feelings of helplessness or hopelessness. Interpersonal difficulties. What I mean by that is negative emotions can strain interpersonal relationships, both at work and in the family and our friends. When individuals experience negative emotions, they may become irritable, withdrawn, or display hostile behaviors, which can lead to conflicts and relationship difficulties. Emotional dysregulation. Negative emotions can disrupt emotional regulations, making it harder for individuals to manage their emotions effectively. Negative emotions can lead to a negative bias in perception and cognition. When individuals are in a negative emotional state, they tend to interpret and remember information in a negative or distorted manner, which can further perpetuate negative emotions. And this happens all the time with politics and political views. It's a mess. Then there's the physiological implications. Stress responses. Negative emotions activate a body's stress response, triggering and releasing a stress hormone known as cortisol and adrenaline. It also produces that, which really can wear you out. Prolonged or chronic negative emotional states can lead to increased physiological stress, which can have detrimental effects on various bodily systems. Impact on the immune system. Maybe you didn't know this, but negative emotions can suppress immune system functionality, making individuals more susceptible to illnesses and infections. Chronic negative emotions have been associated with weakened immune response and increased vulnerability to diseases. So think about that. Then there's the cardiovascular effect. Negative emotions have been known and linked to cardiovascular problems. Heightened negative emotional states, as anger or chronic stress, can increase blood pressure, heart rate, and inflammation, potentially leading to cardiovascular disease over time. It's pretty amazing. Also, sleep disturbances. Negative emotions can disrupt sleep patterns and lead to sleep disturbances such as insomnia or poor sleep quality. Elevated levels of negative emotions such as anxiety or depression can interfere with the ability to fall asleep or stay asleep throughout the night. Then you've got the gastrointestinal issues. Negative emotions can affect the digestive system, leading to gastrointestinal issues such as stomach aches, indigestion, or irritable bowel syndrome. Stress and negative emotions can disrupt the balance of gut bacteria and contribute to gastrointestinal discomforts. Also, you should have a dog around you. They really make you happy. 2 is even better. Prolonged or intense negative emotional states can have significant psychological and physiological implications. It's crucial to address and manage negative emotions effectively to promote overall well-being and health. Seeking support from mental health professionals or employing strategies like stress reduction techniques, self-care practices, and healthy coping mechanisms can be beneficial. Now, let's try to understand the neurobiology of emotions. You have 3 components at play here, so let's simplify and liken these to something we can all understand, like computers. We'll say that the brain acts like the CPU, processing information and generating emotions. The glandular system is like the hardware components, responds to the brain's signals by releasing hormones that influence bodily functions, and emotions are akin to software programs and are the outcome of this intricate interplay between the brain, glandular system, and the rest of the body. So like a computer, it's an intricate interplay between emotions, the brain, and the glandular system. So your brain is the CPU of the computer, the central processing unit. It's responsible for processing information, executing various tasks. Similarly, the brain is the command center for your entire body, processing sensory input, making decisions, and generating emotions. Now let's consider that the glandular system as the hardware components of a computer, just like a computer has different hardware devices, your body has various glands that secrete hormones. These glands, such as the pituitary gland, adrenal glands, your thyroid glands, release hormones into your bloodstream, acting as messengers to communicate with different parts of your body. Emotions, in this analogy, can be likened to software programs running on your computer. So they're the outcome of a complex interaction between the brain and the glandular system. Emotions are not solely confined to the brain, but involve the release of hormones and neurotransmitters that affect the entire body. When you experience an emotion, the brain processes the relevant stimuli, such as an event or a thought, that triggers a cascade of electrochemical signals. These signals travel through the network of neurons akin to the electrical signals in the computer circuitry and ultimately reach the glands. The glands receive signals and release specific hormones into the bloodstream. These hormones act as chemical messengers, transmitting information to various organs and tissues of the body, influencing physiological responses related to that emotion. Just as software programs can affect the hardware components of a computer, emotions can impact the functionality of different bodily systems. For example, the release of stress hormones like cortisol during a fearful or anxious emotion can increase heart rate, elevate blood pressure, stimulate the response of glucose for energy, and you get fat. It's just a fact. So, what role do neurotransmitters such as dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin play in emotional regulation? Neurotransmitters play a crucial role in emotional regulation by facilitating communication between neurons in the brain. Let's explore the role of dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin specifically. Dopamine is often associated with reward and motivation. It plays a significant role in the brain's reward system, reinforcing behavior that leads to pleasurable experiences. Dopamine is involved in the anticipation and experience of rewards, which can elicit positive emotions such as happiness and excitement. Imbalances in dopamine levels have been linked to various emotional disorders, including depression and addiction. Serotonin. Serotonin is involved in regulating mood, emotions, and social behavior. It helps to stabilize and modulate emotional states. Adequate levels of serotonin are generally associated with feelings of well-being, contentment, and relaxation. Low serotonin levels have been associated with conditions like depression and anxiety and mood disorders. Oxytocin is often referred to as the love hormone or bonding hormone because it plays a crucial role in social bonding, trust, and attachment. It's released during positive social interactions such as hugging or cuddling or intimate moments. Oxytocin promotes feelings of closeness, empathy, and connection with others. It can also have a calming effect and reduces stress levels. So, what are the most profound impacts of hormonal fluctuations and emotional states? Hormonal fluctuations can have profound impacts on emotional states. Hormones are chemical messengers in the body that play a crucial role in regulating various physiological processes, including emotions. Here are some of the key impacts of hormonal fluctuations on the emotional states. Fluctuations in estrogen and progesterone, primarily experienced during the menstrual cycle in females, can influence mood and emotions. During the premenstrual phase, when estrogen and progesterone levels drop, some individuals may experience mood swings, irritability, anxiety, or even sadness. Testosterone. Testosterone is often associated with aggression and dominance. Fluctuation in testosterone levels can influence emotional states, such as increased irritability or aggression when testosterone levels are elevated, or feelings of low mood or decreased motivation during periods of low testosterone. Cortisol is a stress hormone that helps regulate the body's response to stress. Elevated or prolonged cortisol levels, such as those experienced during chronic stress, can contribute to negative emotional states such as anxiety, irritability, and mood disturbances. Oxytocin. Oxytocin plays a role in social bonding, trust, and attachment. Increased levels of oxytocin are associated with feelings of closeness, trust, and well-being, fostering positive emotional states. Serotonin. Serotonin is a neurotransmitter that plays a role in regulating mood, among other functions. Fluctuation or imbalance in serotonin levels have been implicated in mood disorders such as depression and anxiety. Lower levels of serotonin are associated with negative emotional states, while adequate levels are linked to positive emotional and well-being states of mind. Dopamine. Dopamine is involved in the brain's reward and pleasure pathways. Fluctuation of dopamine levels can impact emotional states, such as feeling of pleasure, motivation, or reward. Imbalances in dopamine have been implicated in various mental health conditions, including depression and addiction. The sun also plays a role on your mental well-being. Much research has been done to determine the effect of the sun on all forms of life, including human beings. Now, depending on the speed of the solar winds, it increases and decreases our planet's ability to deflect cosmic rays, which are harmful when the Earth absorbs them, leading to confusion, mental instability, and cardiovascular issues, including heart attack. But you should do your own research on this topic. I check the solar weather first thing every morning, just so I'm aware of any issues that might be provoked by the sun weather. Besides the effect that our star has on us, both physically and psychologically, emotional states are also influenced by the complex interplay of hormones, neurotransmitters, and other factors. These experiences range from subtle to extreme. Hormone fluctuations alone do not solely determine emotional states, but they can contribute to emotional changes and impact an individual's overall emotional well-being. It's also worth considering that emotional states can influence hormone levels in a bidirectional manner, creating a dynamic relationship between hormones and emotions, emotions and hormones. Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Oh, yeah, I'm back. Anyways, exploring the power of sexual emotion. What better example of the power that sex has to motivate than commercials? You've all heard the term that sex sells. Well, as an ex-advertiser from one of the largest media companies in the world, I'll tell you that is a lie. Sex doesn't sell products. No. It's the fear of not having sex that motivates. Imagine a cereal commercial. Now, I've directed many commercials in my past, and I'll be director of a commercial. Imagine you're in the kitchen. You have a lovely young lady wearing a dirty apron. Her hair is in curlers, her clothes are not matching, and she is making eggs and bacon and hash browns for her little brats that are standing behind with their forks and their knives going, we're hungry, we're hungry. And she's just thinking, oh, I wish there was an easier way to help my children. And she's thinking, oh, I'm running late, the bus is gonna be here soon for the kids, and I've gotta get them ready for school, and my husband, here he comes, he's running late, he's not even dressed properly, his tie isn't fixed, he's got his jacket under his arm, he grabs the paper next to his coffee that was laid out to him with some toast, and so he decides not to, he reaches for the coffee but then decides to grab the newspaper and run out the door and say, gotta run, and he's gone. But now I direct the woman, the wife, the mother, I'm now saying, now I want you to think that you look out the door, but you're thinking, oh, he's going to have coffee at the office, and he's probably having an affair with the secretary, and now these little brats are just like screaming, we don't want bacon, yuck, we don't want eggs, ugh, gross. And she's just like, oh, but all she has to do is buy the right cereal. And your kids in the morning are adorable. They're just, oh, we love you, mommy. And she's no longer having to wear a dirty apron. She's now has her hair fixed and looking pretty swell. Now her husband comes in, and as she walks around, he sits down and he's all ready, and his tie is perfect, and he's takes a sip of coffee, and as you come by to fill his cup, he's thinking, I'd like to smack that at. Well, you get it. It's the intention of the commercial. But the fear of not having your children's love and your husband's affection is enough for you to buy that box of sugar for your little brats. So that's an example of how I have used these fears to motivate people as a subliminal criminal, my past as an advertiser. Not that I'm proud of it, it's just that this is the reality. These commercials that you're watching are being sponsored and invested in with millions and millions of dollars in production and campaign finance. It's all scientific. Let's go back. What are the connections between emotion and sexuality? There's romantic sex that involves loving and passionate relationships. There's angry sex that uses the hormones generated by hate. There's everyone's favorite, which is makeup sex, that brings two souls back together in a harmonious harmonious relationship. Don't know why I can't say that. Harmony. And then of course there's, I get a little embarrassed by this, but we're talking about it today, we're going into it. And there's also erotic sex, which is intended as a heightened sensual experience involving fear and vulnerability. Now this can include exhibitionism or having sex in public places, or sadomasochism, which is hurting and wanting to be hurt, also known as S&M, or for you kids out there, it's 50 Shades of Grey. I've heard this is part of that series. But I'm sure the list goes much further and make it even more disturbing. But the reasons for sex vary for individuals, from everything in the spectrum of emotions, all the way from love down to hate, and everything in between. So what are the physiological and psychological effects of sexual behavior on a human? Sexual emotions can have a range of physiological and psychological effects on individuals. Here are some of the effects associated with sexual emotions. Physiological effects: activation of the autonomic nervous system. Sexual emotions activate the autonomic nervous system, leading to physiological responses such as increased heart rate, blood pressure, and respiration rate. These responses are part of the body's preparation for sexual arousal and can contribute to a heightened state of physiological arousal. Genitalia and the sexual responses also are affected. Sexual emotions can lead to sexual arousal and the activation of the sexual response cycle. In individuals with male physiology, sexual emotions can result in erection and ejaculation, while in individuals with female physiology, sexual emotions can lead to genital engorgement, lubrication, and orgasms. Multiple orgasms. It's getting a little hot in here. Release of hormones. Sexual emotions trigger the release of various hormones in the body. For example, sexual arousal can lead to the release of testosterone, estrogen, and dopamine, which play a role in sexual desire, pleasure, and motivation. Activation of reward pathways. Sexual emotions activate brain regions associated with reward and pleasure, such as the nucleus accumbens. This can result in feelings of pleasure, euphoria, and a sense of reward during sexual experiences. The psychological effects. Heightened excitement and desire, sexual emotions can lead to heightened excitement, anticipation, and the desire for sexual experiences. These emotions can contribute to a sense of anticipation and enthusiasm related to sexual encounters or fantasies. Enhanced intimacy and bonding. Sexual emotions can foster feelings of intimacy, connection, and bonding between sexual partners. Engaging in sexual activity with a partner can deepen emotional closeness and strengthen emotional bond between individuals. Stress reduction. You've heard that song, Sexual Healing? Well, sexual emotions and sexual activity can help reduce stress and promote relaxation. Engaging in sexual experiences can trigger the release of endorphins and other hormones that contribute to feelings of relaxation, well-being, and stress relief. Mood enhancement. Sexual emotions and sexual experience can positively impact mood and overall emotional well-being. Sexual activity can stimulate the release of endorphins, dopamines, and oxytocin, which can contribute to the feelings of happiness, contentment, and improved mood. So if you're in a bad mood, self-esteem and body image. Think about this. Positive sexual emotions and experiences can have positive impact on self-esteem and body image. Feeling desired and experiencing sexual pleasure can contribute to a sense of confidence, self-worth, and body positivity. Psychological well-being. Sexual emotions and sexual experiences, particularly in the context of consensual and fulfilling relationships, can contribute to overall psychological well-being. They can enhance feelings of joy, connection, and satisfaction with one's sexual and emotional life. So, how can we manage our emotions and become emotionally intelligent? Developing strategies for effective managing of regulating emotions. I want to go to a terrible traumatic situation that I want you to imagine, and that involves being violated. You don't know who the person was, you are traumatized by it, it was the worst experience in your life, and now every time you see someone that looks like that person, you are triggered and you can no longer have intimate relationships. A really bad scenario. Okay. how do you deal with something like that? I mean, besides therapy, besides talking to the closest people around you that you trust, if you couldn't rely on anyone but yourself, you can do something simple. You can write a letter saying how it made you feel, saying what it has done to your life, expressing everything that's negative, and even conveying forgiveness if so chose by that individual, and mail it to absolutely nowhere, since you don't have any idea where this person lives. Every time you think about what just happened in your life, you saw a person that might have looked like that individual and you are now triggered, you suddenly have to remember it's a process. You think, oh yeah, I mailed that letter, I got it off my chest, it's resolved. It's like a room, in a bouncing ball is bouncing back and forth in this big room, okay? There's a lot of room in there, but if you have an issue that now suddenly you're traumatized by something, all of your life experience is now filtering through that trauma. So what you will end up doing is that ball is now bouncing much faster in repetition. It's now much more repetitive. Your brain frequencies are more increased, higher, and that's not a good thing. You need to resolve it, take that issue out. So when the ball is bouncing and all of a sudden, boom, 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 it's bouncing, but you release that wall and say, no, it's resolved. Move on. Now, you've just swum through it. You swim through the issues. You move past just like water, and water is always flowing. You've never touched the same water twice in your life. It touches you and you never touch it again. You touch new water, new experiences, new life challenges, new opportunities. So, I also have to remind myself I don't have this issue of trauma, but I do have an issue with drama. So I'm a type that is a firecracker. I can go off on a split second and verbally assault someone that's offended me. But I have long learned through meditation and experience reading Psalms and Proverbs that I will fall back on those learned systems. For instance, I've brought it up once before, Psalms 119 verse 165. Great peace have they which love thy law, and nothing shall offend them. When I am faced with an offense, either to myself or to my family, I have to remember that psalm instantly so that I put my own ego to death. I put it up on a cross. I crucify it so that I don't have this interference with ridiculous fear turned into rage or anger or anxiety. And so when I remember I have great peace because I love the Word, and nothing shall offend me. What can anyone do to me? What can they say to me? You can call me stupid. You can call me a non-ENTP. You can, try to convince me that I'm an ISFJ. It's not offending me. It's sad that people believe they have a superpower, that they believe that they have knowledge over me that I don't have over myself. And we find that a lot in the typology community. Well, these are some of the ways that I deal with my own emotions. And so this is how I meditate daily. Now, how can we become more mindful and cultivate emotional well-being? How do we do it? And because it will greatly contribute to our overall well-being and mental health. So there's some techniques and practices that you can use. Mindful meditation is a powerful practice for cultivating mindfulness. Set aside dedicated time each day. I call this my quiet time. And focus on your breath and observe your thoughts and sensations without judgment. There are many guided meditation apps that you can actually download on your smart device to get you started. I actually have a separate YouTube channel called Inspire, where I give you the very best guided meditation that exists in my unbiased opinion. I have also used brainwave frequencies such as alpha, beta, theta, delta. So binary beats with beautiful relaxing music, and I hope you get to experience that. But it involves also videos and sounds of nature, deep relaxation for guided meditation, and spiritual healing. So I'd encourage you all to check out that YouTube channel, please. Practice a body scan meditation where you systematically bring your attention to each part of your body, noticing any sensations or tensions, and just release those tensions, the muscles, just relax them. Pay attention to your breath throughout the day and take a few moments to focus on your breathing, inhaling deeply and exhaling slowly. And these I do on a regular basis before I go on stage, before I do any recording with an interview. I take deep breaths, hold them, and exhale. So you should practice this constantly and throughout your day, because you'll notice during times of tension you start to hold your breath. So be mindful of your breathing, and also observing your thoughts and emotions. It's hard for me to observe my emotions because I don't really pay any attention to them, but I do pay attention to my thoughts very clearly. I practice observing my thoughts and my emotions without getting caught up in them. So notice them as a passing mental event rather than identifying with them. This can help you create a sense of distance and reduce reactivity. So get some space between you and the situation. Cultivating gratitude. Now, this is a really important one, and I have a guided meditation on my other YouTube channel called Inspire, and it's entitled Gratitude. So it's pretty easy, actually. Regularly practicing gratitude by intentionally focusing on things that you're grateful for. This can help shift your perspective and foster positive emotions and a sense of well-being. Self-compassion. Treat yourself with kindness and compassion. Be understanding and supportive of yourself, especially during challenging times. Practice self-compassion by offering words to yourself of comfort and encouragement. Instead of saying, "You're lazy," I say, "Don't be lazy." It doesn't directly implicate that I am lazy, although if you look at my life, I've been in this new pad for 6 weeks, and I've intended to do so much more in this course, and yet I am constantly putting pleasure and enjoyment and relaxation and my dream of doing nothing ahead of what I need to do. So just like that, I'm not going to say, "You're so lazy, oh, I'm so lazy," or brag about being, "I'm so lazy." No. I'm not lazy at the things that I want to do. The important things maybe a little lazy. I might put them off and do the things I want to do first because I'm a perceptive type. And I know that I can get it done eventually and in due time. So I use my TI to imagine how long everything's going to take, including my pleasure seeking, and I eventually get the thing done that has to be done by the guided line. So I don't consider myself lazy, but I tell myself all the time, don't be lazy. So it may be sounding negative, but it's actually positive. So be creative in the way that you talk to yourself. Engage in mindful activity. Bring mindfulness to your daily activities, such as eating, walking, or engaging in your favorite hobby. Fully engage your senses and bring your attention to the present moment. It's with anything. I could pick blackberries, and each blackberry I'm carefully taking without getting stuck by a thorn. And the very sensing of the action brings me a sense of pleasure because I turn it into a game, I guess, not to get cut by the thorns. So those are some things you can do moment to moment. Another thing, connect with nature and spend time outside barefoot in nature and appreciate its beauty. Notice the sights, the smells, the sounds, the sensations all around you. Connect with nature. Connecting with nature can help foster a sense of calm and well-being. You'll notice that I'm always in nature. Wherever I am always in nature. I am outside 80% of my time, not including sleeping. I sleep indoors. But you get my point. I'm always outside. If it's sunny out, I feel guilty being indoors. So make that your little self-talk. Say, you know what? You deserve to go outside. You deserve to take off your shoes and get your feet wet and muddy and dirty and walk around. Let your feet get strong. Build up your calluses, not only on your feet, but also on your soul, so you don't let things bother you so often. So emotional awareness is very important. I don't practice this as much as I should, and I try to understand the importance of cultivating emotional awareness by paying attention to my emotions as they arise throughout the day. Acknowledge and accept your emotions without judgment, but you want to look at why things might irritate you. What is it about that irritates me? Well, it's because I prefer this. Well, you have a preference. What are you afraid of? You're afraid that you're not going to get the same thing every single time? Are you afraid of change? Is that your fear? What's wrong with change? Why don't you love change? Embrace it. So there are things you can talk to yourself about in healthy ways. This can help you better understand yourself and respond to your emotions in a healthy and productive way. Seek support. If you're struggling with emotional well-being, consider seeking support from a mental health professional. They can provide guidance, support, and additional tools and techniques tailored to your specific needs. And notice, I didn't mention medication. I'm not a doctor, but I do recommend that you go natural when possible. And remember, cultivating mindfulness and emotional well-being is an ongoing practice that requires patience and consistency. Start with the small steps, baby steps. Gradually incorporate these techniques into your daily life. Over time, you may develop an experience and increase more self-awareness, emotional resilience, and a greater sense of well-being and self-worth. Well, that kind of does it for this section of the self. Next time, we'll be exploring both sides of our brains called the lobes. It'll be another exhaustive look at the most amazing organ in the entire universe. Don't miss it, because you've got one. Also, if you're not already signed up for Type School, join today and go find yourself. Until then, I'm Dap, and this is Club MBTI. Bye for now.